Good day to all our friends around the world, and welcome to those that are here for the first time. Join us for another fascinating story being told by the Crime Unfiltered team. Please join our growing family and click on the subscribe button to symbolize your commitment to the fight against all forms of crime and to choose to stand in solidarity against today's subject matter. Subscribing will help our team feel encouraged to continue to put out similar content, or better still, if you have a story you would like the team to produce for you, simply put it in the comments down below and we will deliver. Today's story is about Noluvuyo Ndema-Nonkwelo. We will cover her background, how they met, dynamics in the relationship, the crime and arrest of the perpetrator. According to the Stand as One movement, chairperson and head of the Department of Philosophy at the University of Fort Hare, Professor Rihanna Elofsson previously told the media house News 24 that toxic masculinity was the root cause for femicide and violence against women and children. Although incessant efforts are made to deal with the scourge of gender-based violence, it continues to be a profound and widespread problem in South Africa, to the tune of one woman's life being taken every 3 hours. Gender-based violence and femicide seems to be as pervasive as ever. There are many other untold stories of women dying at the hands of men who once claimed to love them. 2019 saw some of the most gruesome murders imaginable in South Africa, with one of the worst being that of Noluvuyo Ndema-Nonkwelo. Noluvuyo was fondly called Nolly by everyone who knew her and her 43-year-old husband, Yibanati MacGyver Ndema. We will address him as Ndema for ease of sharing the events that led to the premature end of Nolly's promising life. Nolly was born on the 19th of October in 1984 at the St. Mary's Private Hospital to Father Mpendulo and Mother Brenda Nonkwelo. She was the firstborn of 4 sisters and 1 brother, and she grew up to be very protective of her siblings, and when she was a young adult was seen as the junior mum to them all. The family unit of 8 was very closely knit, full of love for one another, and her parents worked hard to provide the best for their 6 children. She has been described by many as a vivacious and bubbly person, great sense of humor, kind to others, and got on with everyone. This is evident in all her multiple photos that can be found on social media of herself spending time with her children, extended family, and friends. She was the life of the party at the gatherings she was present for. Nolly possessed an insatiable thirst for knowledge and a resilient spirit that propelled her forward throughout her formative years. Her determination to make her family proud led Nolly to excel academically. She spent her early years in Mathatha attending a local primary school, and then she moved on to East London, where she matriculated at Baysville Skills School. While waiting to figure out her career path, she found a job at a local supermarket in East London as a cashier. However, it was at this time when, as a Navi 23-year-old, Nolly met 30-year-old Ndema and fell in love with him. It was a fast-paced romance of a few months, and he soon proposed and she said yes. The rest of the Ndema-Nonkwelo story will be told by her father in an interview with News 24 after her demise. She was besotted with her husband and, as a result, was agreeable with all the decisions he made for their lives, which including moving from East London to Butterworth, which meant she would have to give up her job and in turn her financial independence, which would have been fine if only he would have proven to be a caring husband. She took a leap of faith and quit her job and went with him to set up their new home in Butterworth. It would soon become apparent that the job prospects in Butterworth were slim to none. In hindsight, it could be deduced that with a growing family and 1 income, they probably fell onto some hard times that led to Nolly accepting a job 100 kilometers away from her home in Dutywa just to make ends meet. This was the closest location where her former employers had a vacancy. Nolly was soon blessed with 2 beautiful daughters, and as soon as they were less dependent on her, she decided to enroll at the college near her workplace. Given the itch for self-development never left her after transitioning to being a wife and now mother of 2. If anything, she was even more motivated to develop herself so she could help provide financially for their family and also be a role model for her 2 daughters as her own mother was for her. So Nolly confirmed her enrollment at King Hintsa College in Dutywa, where she worked. In spite of her parental and domestic responsibilities, Nolly persevered and she passed. She was pumped with her achievements, and so she decided to immediately enroll in an advanced course that would lead to a teaching qualification, and the school was in East London. It was a grueling 400 kilometers back and forth from home. However, she held on in spite of the lack of support from her spouse. In no time, she managed to reach her goal of completing the teaching course and immediately secured a well-paying job in East London at a private school which gave the family more financial stability. All the travelling and divided attention took a toll on their marriage, and Ndema convinced her to once again quit her dream to come back home to Butterworth, even if it didn't make any financial sense. Armed with the power of identifying what is positive in the middle of adversity, Nolly refused to be depressed about her husband's indifference and failure to see her achievement as progress for their family unit. She once again decided to reinvent herself. She enrolled into an HIV/AIDS counsellor course to become a caregiver, and she was soon employed as a HIV/AIDS counsellor at the government-run Dutywa Health Care Centre. She found her place and once again flourished in her healthcare job. This seemed to be in conflict with Ndema's opinion of where his wife should be in life. At this stage, Nolly was pretty positive that Ndema had an inferiority complex and was unhappy with her success once again. This time he didn't have the excuse of the distance to her workplace, given her job was located within Butterworth. The cracks in their marriage were soon becoming evident to most. However, in 2018, Nolly found out that she was pregnant with her third child. This made her optimistic about their family, and she was so excited and looking forward to the new addition to their family. It is not known what triggered the fight this time, and in spite of Ndema knowing that his wife is pregnant, he beat her within an inch of her life with a metal rod over her head, and she lost the baby. She was hospitalized due to the severe physical and emotional trauma that this altercation with her husband caused. On discharge, she went to her parents' home to recuperate, and this time she revealed to her parents everything about the abuse she had endured, and with her family's support, she found the courage to report the incident to the police. A protection order was granted, and before the law could be enforced on Ndema for his aggravated assault of his wife, Ndema switched gears. He used his powers of persuasion and well-tested manipulation skills of convincing his wife to withdraw the case and forgive him. He convinced her to go back home on the promise that he would never do it again, and this is when her fate was sealed. Her family and friends would later state that Ndema always bought his way into Nolly, forgiving him by love-bombing and presenting her with presents. He took every advantage of the love he knew she had for him and their daughters. Not long after her return to her home in usual fashion, Ndema continued to be a bully and physically abuse Nolly. On the 1st of July 2019, Nolly's daughters were away from home, and so it was just the couple at home that morning. Nolly was getting ready for work, and Ndema decided to pick a fight with her. And unfortunately, this time, he went too far, and allegedly due to a jealous rage, he took Nolly's life. In a panic of what to do next, when he realized that she was not breathing and that she could be gone, coupled with being known to the police with his GBV history with Nolly, he decided not to call for medical assistance, but he opted to dig up the sunken bathtub to create a grave for his wife. Ndema allegedly decapitated her legs because Nolly was a tall woman and her body couldn't fit in the shallow grave he had dug up. He buried her with her work bag and other personal effects. The whole thing was so audacious and elaborate to have been achieved by one person. Post-burying Nolly, Ndema was unable to reinstall the tub properly, and it was visibly not aligned properly given it was a rushed job that would have taken at least 2 people to complete in the time he had. He retiled the whole bathroom as a misguided plan to conceal his crime from the world, and most of all from his daughters. This whole devious bathroom renovation from hell took Ndema 2 days to complete. So, it was only on the 3rd of July when he decided to have the audacity to report his wife missing, starting with the police. In his police report, Ndema claimed his wife ran out of the house and into an unidentified silver car after they had a fight on the morning of 1st of July 2019. He claimed that because she was in a rush, she left her phone behind, and he apparently assumed they would work things out when she returned from work. One would have thought the police would have seen the red flag, having taken 2 days to report his wife missing and having not even called anyone, including her employers, to ask her whereabouts if his story was in fact true. They could have gone to her home and perhaps found the disaster bathroom renovation Ndema had just completed, but they had very little interest and assumed it was just a lover's tiff and nothing more, and they took Ndema's word for it. Nolly's family would later establish that he had not made any effort in the previous 2 days to speak to any family members or friends, and most of all, he had not spoken to his in-laws within 24 hours of Nolly missing. Nolly's sister had recently taken to TikTok to give her sister a voice on what tragically happened to Nolly. Her sister very bravely explains what happened when she was reported missing, and Ndema came to her parents' home, distraught, and gave an Oscar-winning performance of a genuinely concerned husband that left them skeptical of the events he shared and the volatile marriage Nolly had with him. However, they decided to give him the benefit of the doubt. Nolly's parents immediately took custody of their granddaughters to help them through this traumatizing time that everyone thought would end, with Nolly turning up and the nightmare would be over. The family really held out hope for a very long time. Nolly's sister's account of the saga is well spoken, and while most of it is in English, there are a few home language words used, and as a result, the English subtitle software may at times have displayed the wrong word when a non-English word was used. Nevertheless, our narration covers everything she said. Some of our South African viewers on the channel will understand everything. The love she had for her sister is palpable and is quite the tribute to her beloved sister Nolly. Ndema went on to prove to his in-laws that he was truly an evil man. To cover his tracks and a lousy attempt to throw everyone off his scent, he would create false alarm incidents of informing Nolly's grieving parents that someone saw Nolly at the local tavern, and then apologize later, stating that it was too late when he got there and she had fled, giving the impression that she didn't want to be found. Ndema would also spread innuendo about Nolly, claiming she was pregnant and living with another man in Johannesburg. No one believed that Nolly would have willingly left her daughters without a mother. The family soon realized that foul play was involved in Nolly's disappearance, and the orchestrator was Ndema, but the family had no proof of his guilt. 2 years have gone by, and it is now August 2021. Ndema has been a free man for just over 2 years, and as fate would have it, Ndema decides to invite his daughters and their cousins from his side of the family for a visit with him. Nolly's parents didn't object, and they went. Once they got there, they were greeted with the shocking changes in the family bathroom with an ill-placed bathtub. Ndema's relatives, who were much older than Nolly's daughters, he had invited to accompany his daughters, smelt a rat, and they asked him what had happened to the tub. He had no satisfactory answer and appeared uncomfortable with the topic, citing a flood as the reason he moved the tub. When the visit with their dad was over, Ndema's relatives accompanied Nolly's daughters to their grandparents' home and reported the suspicious findings in Ndema's bathroom. Let's listen to Nolly's brave younger sister's account of what happened from her TikTok account.
It was on the 1st of July. He called apparently at a police station to open a missing person case. So he opened the case. Then he came here apparently. He was crying. He was trembling. A color. It was just so sad. Poor, I thought, because we felt sorry for the guy. Okay, when he was explaining, they had a fight. Before she went to work, they had a fight, and then she ran off. While he saw her with Toyota is silver. That's what he said. She left the phone behind, the wallet behind, the bag behind. She was already in her uniform, working uniform. So that's the description she gave us and to the police as well when he was opening the case. Like that period when we first heard, it was sad because my older sister, called him every day and talked about my sister, you know exactly where she is. We had strange dreams. We had my mother. I'd say my mother felt it because the way she was crying, she couldn't even hold his spoon to him. It was just so sad. Okay, around September 19, there was a body that was found around a million that decomposed already. So my family was asked to identify. The husband was also there to identify. So in my heart, I was like, okay, if he says it's not him, it's not her, then it's definitely not her because he knows where my sister is. So when they went to identify, he came back laughing at her. That's definitely not her. So I was like, that's not her because he knows exactly where she is. And what was crazy about this whole thing, like he would call Africa City, We are born at a local tavern. I'm going to fetch her now. So we pray, I was pray. Again, I got there too late. She left already. So he'd make up stories literally. I'd see, we are born in Joburg, she's pregnant. Maybe she ran off with a man somewhere. Like, it was just so sad. Like, he was playing mind games throughout the whole entire 2.5 years. It was just so sad seeing Abantwana be having hope that their mother will come back. Well, but she's not coming back. It was just so sad. Like, even when you travel, we are Kangela, it's like you'll see her. I just wanted to see her as a street kid, maybe. As long as she's alive. Just for me to go home to see Mama, I saw her. It was just sad. Okay.
No, you're not being insensitive. I'm gonna try mixing English and Xhosa. I'm not sure whether you understand when I fully explain in Xhosa. Let me first try giving you a picture of how their bathtub looked. Ne? It was the ones that were dug underneath, like a pool. Ne? You have to step down when you're entering a bathtub. I'm not sure whether you understand. It was underneath the surface of the tiles. Ne? So what he killed my sister, and then since my sister is tall, she couldn't fit, so he grinded her. Ne? So he placed her legs on top of her, and then took her wallet, bag, and then placed them also on top of her. And then what he did, he bought cement and tile. So he wafaki tiles, like nothing happened. Like there was no bathtub. Ne? There was only tent, yeah? So he asked for Abantwana to visit his house. My mom said yes, and he also had a few of his cousins over at his place. So the cousins saw this weird setup in the bathroom, and they asked him. So he couldn't give a clear answer. So his cousins informed my family, and the kids also confirmed that the bathtub was no longer there and the bathroom looked suspicious. Yeah? So that's when the police were alerted, and then when they asked him, he couldn't give a clear answer. He just said there was a storm and this I don't know, man, what he his toto and his toto was a bath, so he had to take it out. So he couldn't answer the questions that the police were asking. So the police went to the High Court and requesting, I'm not sure what its name is, to go dig there. Yeah? So the police went to dig. He didn't know. So funny enough, when the police were digging, he also offered to assist in digging. He also offered to assist in digging. So they dug, and when they finally found like a bag, the bag that they carry health, ne? He stepped back, he stopped digging. So that's when it raised a lot of.
Nolly's father also gave a detailed interview with News 24, covering the children's report that led to the end of the 2.5-year mystery of Nolly's disappearance. In his own words, Mr. Nonkwelo is quoted to have said the following:
Since Nolly's disappearance in July 2019, her children stay with US in Tota. In August 2021, Ndema came and fetched them during a school break, and they stayed with him in Butterworth. On their return, my granddaughters aged 12 and 9 together with their cousins alerted US that, since their mother's disappearance, the bathtub had been moved and terribly misaligned. This further fueled my suspicions, and with this, I then informed the police and asked them to look under the bathtub. The police went there with forensic dogs, but they could not pick up the scent because her body was buried under the concrete. After the police got a court order to search the Ndema house, which included digging into the foundation. This led to the gruesome discovery of Nolly's decapitated body, buried along with hospital cards bearing her name. DNA results would later confirm the remains were indeed those of Nonkwelo and had since been released to US for a proper burial, which was held on September 2021. This boy, Ndema, was present during the digging and even helped by digging with the police until a bag was found, and only then did he look scared. He is a sick man. Ndema was immediately taken into custody.
Noluvuyo Ndonkwelo's body was found on Monday, the 30th of August 2021. Nolly was buried under where her sunken bathtub once stood. This was more than 2 years after Ndema had submitted a fake report of her missing to the police. Mr. Nonkwelo said this incident has shattered his family. Nolly's 61-year-old father, Pendulo Nonkwelo, in the interview also revealed that Nolly was done after 11 years of marriage to Ndema, which she described as torture. She apologized to her father for concealing the truth and also said that she regretted marrying Ndema. Let's listen to the second part of Mr. Nonkwelo's interview with News 24.
My advice to Nolly was to leave him, get a divorce and come back home so we can help her rebuild her life. Soon after, my daughter went missing. On July 1, 2019, the day Ndema said he saw her last, I had missed my daughter's call. When I called back, the accused answered, and I asked him where my daughter was. He responded by saying they had a fight, he hit her, and that she left for work and left her cell phone behind. I said, you are lying. Just admit you killed her. I had that feeling that he killed her, although I did not have any evidence. That boy kept dodging me since the day of my daughter's disappearance. He never said anything that ever made sense. I concluded that he killed her. I never liked him. The two married without my knowledge on June 28, 2007 at Dutywa Magistrate Court. I don't know his family and I don't know where he is from. My advice to young women is, don't commit until you know a man's background and ensure your own family are involved in the process.
Whilst in custody, Ndema made his second court appearance in September 2021. He had originally abandoned his right to apply for bail, but at a later stage made an about-turn and wanted to be released. His attorney in his defense contended that the charge was a Schedule 5 offense, in that it was not premeditated murder. Ndema distanced himself from a confession he made to the police, in which he admitted that he had murdered his wife because she was having an extramarital affair. During Ndema's bail application, it was revealed that in 2018, his wife had once opened a case of assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm against him and had been granted a protection order in January 2019. However, both the case and the protection order were later withdrawn. In the ruling on his bail application, the magistrate Lundi Kangul agreed with the prosecutor that releasing Ndema on bail would not be in the best interests of justice or society. The case had been postponed to January 2022 for further investigation. From all our research at the time Crime Unfiltered was publishing this episode on the 15th of July 2023, we have been unable to find any updates of court proceedings beyond the verdict on the bail decision. We can only assume that Nolly's case is caught up in the prosecutor's backlog, and we will come back to this story once it reaches its conclusion. For now, the South African society can take comfort in the fact that he is off the streets and behind bars. The team at Crime Unfiltered convey their deepest condolences to the Noluvuyo family and her friends, and to all those other victims whose story doesn't make the headline news. The femicide pandemic is real, and we all have the power and responsibility to help stop the GBV scourge. This begins with openly talking about it, and for those who experience it or witness it, please find the courage to speak up and rescue each other. Enough is enough. Thank you for watching till the end. The Crime Unfiltered team appreciates your interest, and we encourage you to subscribe, comment, like, and share all our episodes. Until next time, continue to take care of one another.